This is Darrell with Quantum Light Consciousness. Today, I'm going to talk about how to heal your inner child. I've covered this topic before only because, this is probably the most important topic. One of the most important topics to actually go into. At least if you're doing spiritual work for yourself, if you're doing work for people around you, if you're doing work for your community, if you want to be more of yourself in your day-to-day life, it's important to start with your inner child and start with who you are, at the beginning of your incarnation on earth, because that's the core of who you are, and that's what counts most. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to heal yourself as an inner child version of yourself and kind of escape the pitfalls that a lot of adult humans now day-to-day experience in their 3D lives, and they kind of get turned around, confused, and not totally clear and coherent on what it means to be awakening and moving forward and developing and evolving, at least spiritually, from a conscious point of view. Okay? Now, before I say anything else, before I trigger anyone, what I mean by conscious is just mean by intuitively doing things for yourself intentionally with the aim to heal, okay? With the aim to heal, with the aim to get more out of your personality, to get more out of your energy, to dive into a depth of your understanding as an enlightened being embodied in the physical from your own soul. So, your inner child has to go through a lot of tests and trials and tribulations just to be considered as a person who is going to continue on the path of deciding to continue to wake up. Because awakening, you have to continue to decide to wake up. It's not just oh, I'm awake, and you continue to keep being awake. No, you have to force. There's literally forces that you have to force out. You have to force energy outwards, and you have to stay on guard, and you have to respect other people's decision not to heal, and then you have to not absorb their unhealthy, unhealed energy subconsciously that they continue to project. Okay, so what that has to do with your inner child is critical, because we're a lot of adult humans, adult 3D people, adult individuals who don't work on themselves and who don't see the point of meditation, energy work, healing, mantras, and just awakening, is that they end up losing their inner child, and then a vacancy is apparent in their reality, in their own physical body. So you have subconscious, extraterrestrial, malevolent entities, or worse, stepping in and then puppeting the vessel. Okay, so and when you awaken, you see stuff like this happen. You see stuff like this happen to your family members. Okay, it's kind of you get memories, you get screen memories based off of who you thought you were, based off of some malevolent energy that isn't you and never has been you. Just like in Captain Marvel, literally in that movie, the main character, Carol Danvers, alright, she was basically, in the beginning, fully activated starseed, okay? Totally energetic, totally inner power. And then she gets hacked by some extraterrestrial malevolent being, and she gets memories of what that extraterrestrial malevolent being wanted her to be as. Okay, so basically, you just have to remember who you are. You have to go back to your own memories and basically understand that it's you see yourself from your own perception from the highest point possible, because you are that perspective itself, okay? You are source energy itself, and that source energy is only going to expand with its own knowledge of itself. So if you can understand yourself as that, you only grow exponentially. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is, if you don't identify as your own inner child, then you leave a door open for malevolency and for irrational, irresonant energy to flow through your own energy body and energy field. So in that state is where you find most people who identify with wounded energy, or where you find most people who identify with their anxiety, their mental illness, their sickness of whatever it is, and they'll even post it. They'll post it like on their Facebook. They'll post it on their blogs. Like, they don't understand it's something outside of them, and that's coming from some idiot extraterrestrial being that's out of phase, that's feeding off of that human posting, who's making them post that and say it's them when it isn't, when it's really the being. This is what I tell my people, my clients, is that negative frequency isn't you, never has been you, never will be you. Who you are is actually an enlightened, illuminated light being that has incarnated here on earth to help yourself out of the density and raise the planet up into higher vibration and frequency through the dark rift of space and time that we're currently traveling through. And as the earth keeps traveling further and further, you're going to see more of these truths become apparent. More people are going to become unveiled. You're going to see who people are. Right now it's kind of like a who's who, like a mass veiled show going on. And you're going to see like who has been like a doppelganger and who has not been themselves, and who has been totally been fed information of who they think they have been, which has been totally false. And it hasn't been true at all. It's like, it's like when somebody turns out, it's like, oh, I'm like this now. Like, you know, like I grew up with you, you were never like that. And I see you now because I'm seeing through the veil, and I'm seeing this being feed you information and telling you you're that. Like, you've never been that, you never will be that. Just bring your inner child back into your vessel and identify with that version of yourself who is pure of heart and totally full of love, joy, bliss, and peace in your childhood. Okay, so it's like you have to call your inner child back into your suit. You have to go into your heart and feel who you actually were, who you actually are, because your inner child is still alive. Your inner child is alive and well. Your inner child has their own inner voice as you, as that perspective of you, as a child of God, source, creator, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so to heal your inner child, okay, you become your inner child. All right, you literally become your inner child. It's another energy body. All right, just like you have an energy body inside your vessel. Inside your vessel, okay, you have an inner child energy body, and that inner child energy body actually superimposes through your own vessel. It's kind of like, you ever seen like those Russian dolls? It's like a person inside of a person inside of a person. That's how it is, except you have your own inner child, and you have your energy body, and you have your physical body, and then you have another energy body, another, it goes infinite. All right, so that's the way you identify with that version of yourself. So find that version of yourself, okay? If you feel like you've lost that aspect of yourself, ask your higher self to bring that version of yourself through, okay? And then heal them. All right, it's very simple. It takes probably they take anywhere from an hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, or some hard cases, maybe it'll take a couple of days. Like, it can be done, you know. I mean, it's like, it depends if you care what to focus on. If you want to be distracted and, you know, just constantly scroll on your phone and kind of just not understand, like, the entire comatose simulation program, and it's like, it's up to you. I can't do anything to help you. I can only tell you the truth that I perceive through my own reality filter. All right, so here's what I do. Okay, I have my inner child. Alright, if he's not in my suit, I can call him off my stream into my suit, because he's always somewhere. You know, it's basically, it depends on what type of inner child you like. Like, you want your fifth dimensional version, you want the version who grew up here on Earth, you want your higher aspect version, or you want your highest aspect version. There's multiple different children. Alright, I also explain this in my other videos. Keep it simple. Your inner child, who's you, should basically always be in your vessel all the time. Alright, so have them in your vessel, alright, and just put a vital flame around them, alright, and just have your inner child just sit in that vital flame, okay? Now, the vital flame is a flame of transmutation, and that flame actually will dissolve any density, any sickness, any incoherency, any negative frequency off of anything, because it's the first way of ascension to hit the earth for this new age of Aquarius, to dissolve all the darkness, to engage in the new age of ascension here in the golden age. Alright, so have your inner child sit in that flame and wonders will happen. Alright, your inner child is God. Alright, you have that little kid inside of you shining like the sun, and it's like that is your source of psychic power. That is your source of super empathic power. If you want to know like how people get super psychic, it's that. Literally, it's that. Like, I interviewed a super psychic on my blog, and she has a course called Through the Eyes of a Child, and she is only focusing on the inner child and the strength of that, and that's huge, because without the inner child, you honestly don't have much power at all. It's like the most powerful people in the world know that the inner child is the most powerful aspect of the soul, because it's the closest aspect to source itself, the source energy itself. So another way I see like third dimensional adults, 3D people, unawakened people, the masses, the muggles, the people who kind of just go along day to day, kind of just like about their own business to get through their lives the best they can. The way I see these people get into trouble with not resonating with their inner child energy is by having a past that had been kind of just, being in a situation that wasn't their fault, entirely their fault. Maybe they had a rough home life and then they were like bullied at school, or maybe they had a rough home life and they were that bully at school. Because the biggest thing that I see with inner child energy, where the biggest hole is in the aura that creates that hole, is actually like either being bullied or actually going out to cause harm to generate that energy for a bully, okay? That's either resonating as that individual in the energy field, or doing work for a malevolent being outside the energy field, even as you were a kid, okay? So Ho'oponopono works, going back into your memories and forgiving yourself for either picking on someone, causing harm to someone, effing somebody over, it goes up to adolescence, and young adulthood, early 20s, kind of going into those memories. And, maybe, you're a young adult and you cheated on somebody. Maybe you're a young adult and you literally got in a bar fight and you took it too far. Or maybe you were a young adult and you did a hit and run, like on somebody's car, and then, you never paid for it. It's like crazy. Like, people do these things and they, continually just, it all stems from that inner child. All the things, all the problems, all the tragedies, all of the, malevolent behavior that goes on just rampant in a cycle around the earth plane, it has to do with the home life of the child, okay? The parenting of the child. It's like growing up inside yourself and kind of parenting yourself, parenting your own energy, at least, That's the most important part. Your own thought forms, your own coherency to keep a stable and balanced subconscious environment, all right? And doing that with the utmost intent and love for yourself, with the compassion and wisdom of your higher self. So Ho'oponopono works. It's, I'm sorry, I love you, forgive me, thank you. Just go back to those memories and do that, because it works. With the vital flame, all right, within yourself, with your own energy body, as your inner child, all right? So identify with that version of yourself and go in with it. After you heal, you want to keep a relationship going with your inner child. Start doing stuff that you like to do. Start to paint, start to draw, start to do energy work, start to do more healing, start to actually learn a martial art. That's what I do, literally. if you've seen the videos on my blog, like on my channel, I'm like doing stuff, and like basically I'm inner child mode. Like I'm literally popping my inner child energy body out of my body and doing crazy manipulation shit, like with nunchucks, like in the dark. Like, but my eyes are basically like totally zoned into another dimension, except totally eternal. Like your inner child is, I'm telling you, like you are a creator. Like literally, that's how it works. Okay, so just feel the compassion, feel the love, feel the joy. That's the most important. Feel the joy that resonates with that aspect as yourself. Okay, because it's monumental. All right, and understand that nobody can take away your innocence. All right, nobody can take away that inner peace, or what it actually felt like to actually grow up and go through the tests and go through the simulations and go through the intensities and all the drama and heartbreak and confusion and manipulations that third dimension has to offer. Because once you make it through that, you call your inner child back, and then you start to actually remember, like, oh, okay, this is all a game. This is all a simulation. All right, it's time to wake up now. It's time to see who I actually am in this version of myself. All right, so that's the point of this blog. That's why I do these videos and bring you this information, because it's very important. All right, I don't know what anybody else is speaking about, but I like to speak like what is most important to me. Hopefully you can at least like take some of it for yourself and apply it for yourself. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. And then of course, I'm always available for sessions and whatnot. Check me out. I also have art on my Instagram. I'll put that link below. And I guess that's it. I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love.